She's given me advice, and then Heather Graham, is a member of the local chapter, and these people are so generous with the information that they'll give you.
And even Heather now has the Writers for New Orleans conferences in September.
Which is a wonderful conference. I didn't go last year, but I have been to the Writers for New Orleans conference, and that was her brainchild that she conceived to try to bring some economic help to New Orleans by bringing some tourism
Post-Katrina.
Post-Katrina.
I've been to every one. They're fabulous. They're so much fun.
I just went to one, but maybe I'll get there this next year because boy, did we have a good time.
We did.
There.
And one more thing for the viewing audience from the finance side is the Romance Writers Association also provides group medical coverage.
Yeah.
And they probably have life insurance. And
there's a lot of things you can go to because they understand that people like me, that really is our only income with the Romance Writers of America. We don't have, we don't have a 401k through our work. We don't have a group insurance plan through our work. So one of the things that they do to support their published authors is they put together things like that, where you can go through their organization and get involved in things that normally wouldn't be available to you if you, as an, well, they would, but it'd be much more difficult, much more expensive to get independently, which is a great thing.
And today health insurance is huge. If you can get a group rate, that really makes a big difference.
Yeah, it does. It really does. So that's,
I got to throw the finance thing in. Even though it's romance, it's still finance, right?
You go, girl. That's what I love about Gwendolyn.
Now, I don't know how much time exactly we have left on the clock, but I do want to get you to read an excerpt from this.
Okay.
Can I ask you? Kathleen's going to read for me?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to get Kathleen to read for me.
I'll just start with the first chapter.
Okay.
Page 1.
Page 1.
It's always a good place to start.
Okay. College was so much fun. The parties, new friends, and being on my own. I studied my tail off and worked part-time as a waitress. Now, at the ripe age of 22, I graduated from college and headed to the big city. My roommate Parker and I found a great studio apartment, which we dubbed the hallway, because the extra long hallway was the most striking feature of our postage stamp living space. We loved it. My raven-haired friend's talent and charm landed her a job as sous chef at a very expensive restaurant in New York. I landed a paralegal position with a top-notch law firm. And best of all, I had met Alan just before graduation. I fell in love at first sight. Alan Abercrombie is one of those blonde, blue-eyed, angel-faced, hunky types. Success glows like a halo around his splendid 30-year-old head. Yes, he's slightly older, but we look great together. There, I said it. His job as a TFI bond trader at Credit Suisse First Boston made him a financial genius compared to my then gross ineptitude. Actually, my crush on him was so complete, I didn't even bother to discover what a TFI bond trader did until it was too late. Major mistake number 1. I should have asked more questions when he told me about his job on our first date. We were lazing on the beach blanket with Parker and her boyfriend. The lull in the conversation made me squirm while Alan's gaze followed my hand trailing the sunscreen across my belly. To distract him, I asked, "What do you do?" He said, "About what?" "Well, a typical day at work." His eyes fell on the sequined pineapples adorning the top of my drawstring bikini, my #1 summer investment, before his gaze took on a faraway look. He got so excited about describing his job. He was oblivious to the fact that his fingers stroked the inside of my arm, sending goosebumps from my wrist to my ankles. I should have paid attention to his words and not the havoc his fingers were wreaking. He said, "I get up at 5:30 and I leave the house at 6:15. I take a cab from Tribeca and arrive at Credit Suisse headquarters about 6:45. I grab a cup of coffee, 4 newspapers, and I'm seated in my chair by 7:15. Then I read the papers and the morning research." Research. Okay. Now I could grab onto that word. Glancing over the rim of my sunglasses, I said, "What's morning research?" He rolled from his belly to lie on his side, facing me. The way his lips moved when he spoke made concentrating difficult. "It's a daily update on what's going on in the world that could affect the bond markets. It varies depending on what economic numbers are coming out." You should probably be reading the financial stuff.
I think you're describing your first job.
Oh, yeah.
That's what happens on the trading floor.
Yeah. "It varies depending on what economic numbers are coming out and what the strategist has to say. Remember, as land of the rising sun, Asia starts the day, and then Europe opens. And as the Earth spins on its axis, we open." I was thinking, huh? But instead, I handed him the sunscreen. He smeared some on his nose saying, I listen to what's happening with the future market in Chicago, and then depending upon which economic numbers come out or random news I hear, my day takes off. Normally, though, all hell breaks loose about 8:30 with 550 traders and salespeople yelling orders back and forth, and I mean yelling as loud as they possibly can. They actually fired one girl because her voice didn't carry far enough. I sit wedged among 12 computer screens and 120 phone lines. My right hand is doing one thing while my left hand is doing something else. It's managed chaos at the speed of light. Now, I was too plain embarrassed to show my ignorance. I closed my dropped jaw by saying, I'd lose my mind. That might not have been the right response because he frowned and blinked a couple of times. He said, Sam, it's hellish, but it's the most exciting career I could ever imagine. Minor blunder on my part, but I think he forgave me because of my bikini. My first major blunder with Alan came the first night I moved into the city. The doorman announced Alan was in the lobby while I was still catching my breath from arriving late and chatting up our new digs with Parker. Still in jeans and sweaty from lugging my suitcase through the simmering city, I dashed through a cloud of talc and perfume, touched up my makeup, and hopped into a sundress. Knowing how punctual he was, I felt awful for making him wait 30 minutes. I wiped my sweaty palms on my sundress as the elevator doors opened. Alan looked good enough to eat. A grin creased his lips as he reached for my hand. Samantha, you're gorgeous. I've missed you. I pirouetted once for him before his strong arms pulled me close. I enjoyed a heart-stopping, knee-melting kiss as delicious for me as it was for anyone watching. Then, like a complete idiot, basking in the gaze of those beautiful blue eyes, I said, So how was your day? I heard on the radio that the market was up 240 points. Mr. Wonderful looked like he took a bullet. He needed a moment to recover, while I thought his breathlessness was from the low cleavage of my dress. He finally kissed me on my forehead and said, You're sweet to ask, Sam, but I'm a bond trader. Still unaware I had said anything wrong, I took his arm and let him lead me off to dinner and let him lead me off to a dinner I was sure would be divine. Well, I thought I had asked a question dripping with innuendo that I cared. In reality, I had said, Don't let this little confection of a dress fool you. Behind these baby blues is a brain that doesn't know the difference between a stock and a bond. Alan is no slacker. I lost points big time. How's that?
Well, that's very good. But I wonder how many of our readers really do know the difference between a stock and a bond. And when I, meet people that were educated in other countries in public schools, they learned this stuff in school. They had, along with math and reading and everything else, they learned basic financial planning. They learned goal setting, things like that. And they're astonished to learn we don't teach it in the school system here.
It's really sad, isn't it?
Well, one of the things that you had me put into the narrative, which was fabulous, and that's learning finance is like learning another language. Once you understand the language, you understand finance, and that's such a great message to send people. And this book does that, which is really
because it
fantastic.
is an easy concept. Once you understand it, so many people think it's intimidating, they don't want to go near it, and it's very complex, and it can be very complex, but it doesn't have to be. That's
okay,
great.
well, I would like to thank you very much for coming here and being with me today. I enjoyed your book a lot. If our readers would like to know more about the book, or when they could see one of you people live at an appearance and get the book signed, they should go to the website, which is
flirtingwithfinances.com.
I'd like to thank our audience for watching So Many Books today. And if you or someone you know would like to be a guest on So Many Books, go to my website, which is www.toniandrews.com, and click on the Contact Me link and send me an email and tell me a little bit about yourself and the book that you'd like to discuss on So Many Books, and I'll get back in touch with you. And thanks again for watching the show today.